Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome all of you to the Get Hired in IT webinar organized by AIBS School of Computing. So with me this evening, I have the two speakers, Mr. Jehan Vijay Singha and Udita Sudhasingha. And also we have Sumedha Madhumali, who's the program coordinator for IT in AIBS School of Computing. And I have two members from the marketing team, Tarindika Pranayaka, the digital marketing executive of AIBS campus, and our senior student counselor Zainab with me. So before going into the webinar, I would like to mention a few housekeeping rules. I would like to ask all the candidates who have joined with us this evening to keep their videos turned off and the microphones muted. If you have any questions while we are doing the session, feel free to type it in the chat box, and we will make sure to take that at the end of the session. So I'm Shehan Gunasekar. I'm the head of marketing and student enrollment at the AIBS campus. And before starting the session, I would like to give a brief introduction about AIBS campus to anyone who's new to AIBS. So AIBS campus or the Asian Institute of Business and Science, we began our mission with the key aim of offering educational opportunities to students in fields crucial for today's global business landscape. To achieve this commendable objective, AIBS has formed partnerships with globally renowned academic institutions such as Pearson UK, National Computing Council UK, and also Edgehill University UK, enabling both local and international students to pursue their studies with the assurance of an international network and support system that ensures success. AIBS presently offers a wide range of much needed educational qualifications in the private tertiary education sector of Sri Lanka, specializing in the fields of science, IT, and business. And without further ado, I would like to invite our very first guest speaker in the evening, who's none other than Jehan Vijay. So let me give you a brief introduction about Jehan. Jehan Vijay is an entrepreneur and product development specialist with experience in building innovative products for local and international markets. He co-founded Igniter Space in 2016 and has been the CEO till 2021, and he was responsible for the growth of the company from its initial stages. In Jehan's tenure in the edtech field, he was able to work closely with government and private educational organizations in fostering innovation education in Sri Lanka. His current focus is in high-tech product incubation, where he is involved in heading product development of multiple tech products such as Rooster, Avocado, as the head of product at Search Global. He is also an avid startup mentor and entrepreneurship coach for up-and-coming entrepreneurs. He has also founded Unicorn Factory, which is an entrepreneurship education platform where his vision is to provide important knowledge to up-and-coming entrepreneurs. So I'm sure you will have valuable insights, not only just into the IT sector, but to develop yourself as an entrepreneur. So Jehan, the session is over to you.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Shehan. So thank you all for joining today on a Saturday evening. I think you all want to be successful in your careers and in your life, which is why you don't care if it's a weekend or a weekday, you would participate in something that can help you uplift your career. So over the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to take you guys through some things that I've learned by myself through the experience I've gained working in multiple organizations, creating multiple organizations, and of course, mentoring hundreds of startups and entrepreneurs all around Sri Lanka and even all across the world. So I hope to share some of these experience that I have gained with you all in the hopes of somehow contributing to your own personal growth and your personal success. So I'm just going to share my screen. I have some slides, but if you have any questions as we go on with the session, Zoom has a raise hand option. Please feel free to raise your hand anytime, and I'll be happy to take your questions as well. And of course, we'll have some time at the end of the session for questions as well. All right, let's get into it. Now, if you think about it really, 10 years ago, if I told you that you can fit all of these devices that you see in your screen in your pocket, would you believe me? 10 years ago, if I told you all of these things that you see here, the telephone, the video camera, the iPod, I don't even know. Oh, this is a navigation, GPS, Garmin device, stopwatch, compass, gaming console, Kindle. Like, with technology evolving, you can see that, there's one device that can do all of that. So technology is growing really, really fast. And it's a good thing in one side because look, we don't need to buy all of these devices. We can just buy the smartphone, and the smartphone is actually, it's good for entertainment for sure. You can watch Netflix wherever you are, but it helps you to, do your job and get about your life. I think everybody, the first thing you do when you wake up is to check your phone. If that's not true, then you guys are not adopted to technology. So my point here being, that's a good thing of technology. But what's the negative side? Now, this is how vehicle production lines used to be. But now, this is how it is. This is how, in most developed countries, earlier, like 5 years ago, how restaurant checkouts were. And this is how it is now. Can you notice there's something missing here? What is missing here? You can see something is missing here, right? It's the humans. Technology is always good for solving problems and getting things done, but there's I wouldn't say a bad side of it, a natural side of it evolving, which is the repetitive things are being replaced by technology. And now it has gone even further now. We are talking about replacements that happened over the last 5 to 10 years. In the recent past, with AI and machine learning developing, you can see that there's a massive loss of jobs. In one of the companies that I'm consulting, over 60% of the staff was laid off because of AI. So it is happening, guys. It's really, really happening. So I'm not here to scare you all. I'm here to tell you how you can actually adapt, right, to these changes, these rapidly changing environmental factors, and plan your success. So let's talk about where we are. We are in beautiful country. We are in a country which has beautiful forests like this. We have beautiful tea estates, beaches. In fact, right now I'm actually not in Colombo. I'm in Mirissa. I had to come for a small vacation. I was doing a session in the morning. I was doing a lecture in the morning, and within 2 hours, here I am in a beautiful beach. I was just in the ocean like 10 minutes ago. And right after I finish this session, I'll go back to the beach. It's a beautiful country. Like, I've lived in Sri Lanka all my life, but I still haven't explored even 10% of what the country has to offer. We are called the pearl of the Indian Ocean. Now, guys, I'm not a patriot, right? I'm not someone who says I'm a proud Sri Lankan. No, I just love my country. This is where I was born. But here's the deal. We have a problem. We all know this, right? But right here, what can we do? The what can we actually do? Can we all just, pack up our bags and leave? And is that the solution? No, we need to understand what is happening in the environment to adapt. Now, when we talk about career guidance, career guidance is something that is, has been developed in Sri Lanka in a very, very amazing way over the last 10 years. This is something that always you hear your parents and elders saying, "Ape kaale owa tibbena." That's actually true. I mean, we had, like, when I was, starting my career, I did have career guidance, but it's amazing that career guidance is there to actually help you choose the right career path, right? And now, especially right now, Sri Lanka is changing very, very fast, rapidly. So when you are in an environment which changes rapidly, it is not enough for you to understand how the job market is, how the industry is. You also have to take an extra step and understand how the environment is. Okay. So then, there is the youth of Sri Lanka has a very high youth population, and we have a very strong youth population. We were able to, change governments. Right? That's how powerful the youth of the country is. However, if you only complain, you are not going to progress as an individual. You have to be a little bit selfish. You have to think about yourself because nobody's going to help you when you fail in your career. When you don't have money in your pockets, nobody's going to come and give it to you. It's up to you to pretty much build your own career. So other than following trends where everybody is saying, we don't have this, we don't have this, this is bad, that is bad. Yes, it is. I'm not saying it's all good, but understand why it's bad and how you can make it an opportunity rather than letting it affect your career. So that's why I want to share some of these things before I get into the nitty gritties of the IT industry and the opportunities that is there. Now, here's the science. This is not something I got off any sort of propaganda, but this is the reality. Our export basket has not developed. Now, I'm not going to give you all a lesson on economics. That's not why I'm here today. But very quickly, if I tell you, look at these countries. Let's keep India aside. India is a different monster. Vietnam, China, Thailand, Vietnam, especially, they had a very long war, just like Sri Lanka. They had a much terrible war than Sri Lanka. These countries have had similar economies like Sri Lanka 10 years ago. This is actually 2000 to 2014. Not this is actually old data. This graph. Even still, you can see how fast these countries' economies have grown compared to Sri Lanka. Now, the reason for that is they have had innovation in these countries that through which they can diversify their export portfolio. I'll explain what that means. Now, Thailand was one of the largest and still one of the largest rice exporters, right? But are they exporting only rice now? They're exporting rice, yes. But they're also one of the largest manufacturers of Toyota vehicles in the world. They also export tech. They export a lot of hardware, right? Korea, again, agriculture was their export. Now they export pretty much anything. Now, Sri Lankan export basket has predominantly been resource-based. What I mean is either coconut or tea, rubber, apparels, all of them very resource-based, knowledge-based exports like IT industry, manufacturing industry, these have not been built. So there is an opportunity, and that's where the area is for us to grow as a nation. We have to use innovation and come up with new products. So, and also, a lot of people tell that there are no more opportunities in the country. If I think of an idea or a business idea, many other people have already thought about it. Now, a lot of people say that. However, this is not true. The United Nations, UNDP, identified 17 different goals to achieve, I think in 2030. I'm not too sure about that exact thing, but this is to ensure that everybody has a decent life in the world. Now, look at this. These are goals they want to reach. No poverty, meaning there is poverty in the world. Zero hunger, meaning there is hunger in the world. Good health and well-being. I'm not going to go through all of this, but these are goals. This is the ideal way for humans to live. So I wanted to put this slide to show you guys that there is a lot of problems to solve. Lot of problems to solve. And I'm not asking you all to solve these just to be a good human being, but take use of these as opportunities to build something new. So innovation is directly linked with your economic growth. That's something I want to keep in mind. Right. That's a little bit about the environment. You guys should know that before we go ahead with the subject, because we have to be very smart, guys. We have to be smart if we want to not just succeed. We don't want to be just successful, right? We want to we don't just want to survive, right? We want to be successful. We want to thrive. We want to get better and better, do great things. So if you want to do that, you have to get out from that bubble of complaining and there are issues, and you have to start understanding what's wrong and using it as an opportunity. So this is a little bit about me, my portfolio. I started my first company when I was 19 years of age. That is Ignited Space. I was the CEO of the company for about 6 years. Then I exited 2 years ago because I wanted to, build other companies. And I also started a tech company called Product Tavern, which is a product development company, predominantly focused on developing new and innovative products for the foreign markets. We've done a lot of work in the US, Europe, many countries. I founded Unicorn Factory. It is actually first started as a YouTube channel. Now it's a platform that enables entrepreneurs to build their companies. You can check out our YouTube channel. It's completely free of charge. We have startup boot camp programs and incubator programs that you guys can, pursue if you want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm also heading product at a company called Surge Global, which is one of the largest software companies in Sri Lanka. This is a little bit about me. Some of the things I want to cover today. I'm going to share with you a small framework that not I have developed, but I have identified for you to understand your optimal position for growth. Again, your ideal, place you have to be for growth. We'll talk a little bit about some of the emerging trends in computer science and some career opportunities that are opening up in the IT industry. We'll talk about the importance of collaborating with academia for you to be successful in your career. Sorry. We'll also talk a little bit about research and innovation as well. So this is the high level agenda. So I told you there are things that are an obstacle for progress. Again, for you to move forward, these things are affecting, right? One is the environmental problem, but this is not the only thing, guys. Many people say, oh, nothing to do in the country. It's useless. You have to go out of the country. Right? But there is a second part of this, which is actually the yeah. First, let's look at the environmental problems. Some other problems. One is economic instability and inflation. We all know that Sri Lanka has absolutely very high levels of inflation. Prices are changing very high. There's no country in the world which has such a big gap between the buying rate and the selling rate of the dollar. So very high inflation. We have social instability, as you all know. For different people's propagandas, they're trying to create divide within the people. So that's a problem that we have. And of course, this one, I'm not even going to read it out loud because we all know this is also a problem. So these things are there. They've been there for a long, long time. Can we control this? Yes, it's a democratic country, so we have a vote. We can contribute to the development. But realistically, within the time frame of you developing a career, right? Do you have enough time to change this? Really, if you take realistically, I don't think so. I don't think, you can either be a optimist, a very, very positive guy, or a pessimist, a very, very negative guy, but don't be either. Be a realist, be in this middle. See, actually, do you think in your lifetime, these environmental problems will be solved? Maybe, but for me, it's probably not. So you can't control them. So now what do? Think about the individual factors. Why am I still here? I already told that. I think Sri Lanka has a lot of opportunities, a lot of problems to solve, and a lot of money to be made. Yes, a lot of problems, a lot of innovative solutions that can be implemented. If you just take some time and study the business ecosystem of a country like Australia, or something that's really up and coming, Israel, or keep India aside. India has been developing their economy for a long time. Again, Australia too, but I'm talking about startup ecosystems. These countries have amazing startups, very creative. And if you take in Sri Lanka, we have very less. So there's a lot of opportunity with the knowledge and capital and all of that. There's more chance for me to be successful here than any other country, which is why I'm here. So second and most important problems that you face are individual problems. Now, this is some of the two things that I find. You can individually, as an individual, these are the things that is affecting your growth. One is a lot of people are looking for quick money, quick ways of growth, fast success. Right now, this is a problem. Hard work. You need hard work to be successful. That's the reality. If you are not willing to work hard, you can't be successful. Why do all of these, all these quick money programs like these pyramid schemes and e-clubs and crypto clubs and all of these things? There are legit ones. I'm not I'm not like shaming all of them, right? There are legit ones, but there's a lot of scams around that says you can make quick money. Other lakshadhan hit lakshadha right? So that's one of the mistakes, right? That we are looking for quick money, right? And it's not sustainable. And the second thing is we are lazy. That's the reality. Like, Sri Lankans, we are the islanders. Yes, it's a little bit lazy. But I believe there's a work-life balance needed. But these are two of the areas that I see as an individual, right? Not in general, I'm saying. Just think about it. These are individually, I think, the only two factors that is hindering your progress. So anyway, now traditionally you have career paths. I sir, if you those days if you look at it, it was very fixed. You have very limited career paths. Either you become a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, or a professional, like take a job. Right? But now things have changed quite a bit. You can get a job, yes, or you can build a business, be an entrepreneur, or you can work by yourself. You can be a freelancer, or you can even be a specialist, a YouTuber, sportsman, musician, artist. There are multiple options for you to grow, and you don't have to do only one. Like, in fact, like, I was doing a job while I was building a business, while I was working for myself as a freelancer, while I was also a YouTuber. Or I wouldn't consider myself a YouTuber, but yeah. So you can do all of that. You can do multiple things for you to be successful. But whatever the path, you need a personal growth strategy, right? Now, any company, any organization has a strategy, right? Any company, any successful company or company that is looking to succeed has a strategy. Strategy means a business plan for them to be successful, right? Example, let's take a company like Keels. They may have a strategy for 2024 to reach 100 million in sales, go from 90 to 120 branches, reduce their carbon footprint by 20%. They may have goals, and they will have a plan on how to reach those goals. Now, that's called a business strategy. Just like that, what I recommend is, as individuals, you need to have your own personal growth strategy, a strategy or a plan for you to grow as an individual. So in developing that, I will show you very quickly. I'll show you a small framework you can use to identify your ideal career path, right? I'm not going to go through this. This is, of course, you have to change your attitude towards things, but I will, and you have to change the way you work. You have to work hard. But we'll take this step 3 and go into detail in terms of identifying the most suitable path. There's a concept developed in, I read it in a book, a Japanese book. The concept is called Ikigai. Ikigai means the ideal place or the ideal, the optimum pathway for you to be successful. Yeah, your optimum, that's the best pathway or position for you to be successful. To identify that, you look at 4 areas. First is you have to identify what you love to do, right? What is your passion? What are you interested in doing? I'll maybe if I share my passions, what I love to do. I love to build products. I love innovation. I love to come up with new ideas. I love to cook. I love to cook. I love to travel. I love aviation. These are things that I love to do. A lot of other things, but main passions. Now, that's the first thing you need to do. Identify what are your passions, what you want, what you love to do. That means if you have any, like, all the money in the world, all the time in the world, this is what you're going to do. This is the ideal thing you want to do. Second thing is what you are good at now. Doesn't matter you love it, you should be good at doing that if you want to build a career out of it. Example, if I love to code, right? Let's say I'm really passionate at coding. I love to, build mobile apps and web apps. Example. Second thing is I should be good at it. For you to build a good career out of it, I should be good at it. Now, you don't have to be good right now. There's always ways for you to, be better at it. But if you're seriously considering a career path, you have to identify what you are good at. Example, I love to cook. Am I good at it? Yes. Let's say I'm good at it. And I have validated that. Like, people have told your food is tasty. Right? Right. Second thing. Third thing, what can you get paid for? Now, it doesn't matter you love to do this and you're good at doing it. if you can't get paid for it, there's no point. You can't build a career out of it, right? Then you can build a charity, right? Like for example, if you love cooking and if you are good at cooking, if you can't find a way to get paid for it, then you have to be a chef at a dhansala, right? Because you can't get paid no working there. So you have to find what are the ways you can get paid. Now, as a chef, as a person who love to cook and I'm good at cooking, I can get paid to be a chef or maybe to be a food blogger, or to start a restaurant, be a restaurateur, right? So these are things, or start my own food brand, right? These are things I can get paid for. Fourth is what the world needs. Like by doing this, are you solving a problem in the world? Are you impacting, society, right? If you take again my passion, okay, let's say I be a chef, then what the world needs, like people need to eat, people need to be fed. Yes, this is definitely contributed to the global, problems. But there's a fourth point, and it's very important. It's not in Ikigai. I have added that and I've modified it. That is where you can grow. Number 5, especially in developing economy like Sri Lanka, you have to look at how this industry is like, because in Sri Lanka, different industries have different growth potentials or different potentials. This is why for the next part of the session, we are going to talk specifically about the IT industry. There are different industries. Now, if you take Sri Lanka, if you take the, let's say, aviation industry versus the IT industry, I can share a small story also. But before I get there, when you see the two, right, there are differences. I'll tell you my story now. My biggest passion, more than coding, was aviation. I love to, take apart planes and put them back together. I haven't done that. But something I did was, when I was a student, I did this holiday program in Ratmalana, in the airport, and I actually took apart a Cessna 152 engine, not alone, with the help of some other mechanics, and I put it back together. So I really wanted to pursue aviation as a career. I loved it. I was fairly good at it, right? And I wanted to be either an aircraft maintenance engineer or I wanted to be a pilot. Well, same thing with coding. I was good at it. I loved it. I was good at it, and I knew if I was a software engineer, I could get paid for it. Now came to point number 5. I was thinking about, okay, let's look at the two industries. Aviation industry in Sri Lanka is not as competitive and has opportunity as the IT industry. Especially when I came into the industry was very, very fast growing. So many opportunities, even right now, which I'll get to. So many opportunities, and the starting salary of a software engineer, even at that time, was over 100,000 rupees. A good software engineer. Whereas, and also there was a lot of jobs, a lot of companies, new companies starting up, new jobs coming up, new projects coming into the country. But if you take aviation industry, there's only one airline, and that airline is also in the decline. And it's very hard to get into, that airline. There's a lot of politics. And for you to grow, there's a lot of, it takes so many years for you to be certified in different aircrafts. You have to spend a lot of money to be a AME, right? Unless you get into Sri Lankan Aviation College. So I looked at the both, and then I decided, look, I'm not going to take my aviation path. I'll take my second passion, which is coding. And I joined University of Westminster, and I became a software engineer because I looked at the growth potential, and that's an area that all of you need to look at. And IT industry that way, to this day, is extremely competitive and has a lot of space for growth. Just give me a second. So just give me a minute and just take a glance through this. All right, guys. All right. Now let's talk specifically about the IT industry. Now, before we look at some emerging trends, that are new and upcoming, let's look at the areas of the IT industry which are existing. Now, in Sri Lanka, you have different types of software companies. Predominantly, we can classify them into maybe 2 or 3 categories. Number one is very much service-oriented companies, which are companies that do software development or give product development services to clients overseas or local. Service-oriented companies. Then we have product companies, companies that develop their own products, right? And I'll give an example of each category. Let's take the first one, service-oriented companies, example 99X Technology, called 99X now. 99X is a good example of service company. Creative Software, actually they are also product company. Yeah, there's so many other companies. Search Global itself is more into service-oriented business. Then the second category is product-oriented business, where you develop your own products. That's an area which is up and coming. Most of the service companies have product development, their own product development, and there's a reason for that too. Service businesses, by outsourcing to clients, you can build your cash flow. That means you can get money coming into the company, right? And then you invest some of that money to building your own products. 99X does it. They have few products, something called Maturify, something called Tracify, that's their own products. Search Global has our own products. We have something called Study Table, a few others that are in the pipeline. Then also there are, example, CodeGen. CodeGen has their own products like Travelbox, while they also do service-oriented engagements. Creative Software. Creative Software has Cambio. Cambio is a product that they're building. It's pretty large. So similarly, yeah, you have the product-oriented work. And then 3, you have the middleware businesses that are building tools and API layers. Like, for example, a good example for that is WSO2. Then, of course, 4, you also can work in companies which have IT or software engineering departments to support their overall business model. For example, Haley's or John Keel's as a group of company would have a engineering department, a software engineering department, to pretty much build internal tools to handle their different companies in their group. These are some of the companies that you can work on. Now, this is traditional. It has been there for the last 20 years. And if you look at predominantly the areas of industries, this is what you see. You have software engineering, the most common one, the best one. For sure, why I say best is most opportunity, most career paths, career options, most paid, all of that. Then you have project management. I would say again, I would say had still there, but this is the main areas that were popular 10 years ago. You had design. UI UX again was not a word that was used a lot. You rather call it design. Then you have QA, quality assurance. And then, of course, finally, these shared services, which is jobs which support the company, like marketing, sales, HR, finance. So these are the type of jobs you could get at a tech company. Now, these have changed, right? Things like, and you've heard of all these, I'm sure you have heard of these words. Not just words, these are new trends, new technologies that have come up over the last, again, these have been in R&D for the last 20 years, but now they're getting into mainstream engineering or mainstream product development, because they have been validated now and they're now ready. Not just ready, they are already changing how, products are not just built, but are also run. Things like machine learning and AI, right? Artificial intelligence is now very commonly used, very easy to build something using AI. Any of you who is already a techie, research about open AI, using open AI, you can build your own AI tool. You want to build your own chat GPT, you can do that. In fact, I even at Ignite Space taught kids how to develop their own AI related software, right? It's very, very, I wouldn't say it's very, very simple, but It's a lot of development tools are available. And you can see that using AI, it's actually, let's get to that topic in a bit, but it's actually enabling a lot of new opportunities, right? In fact, right now I'm developing a product, can't disclose the name, but to a mark to the it's going to be launched in Nashville, Tennessee, in the US. It's a product to do with sports tech. Pretty much, I can share a little bit about it. It's a tool where to be used by golfers. If you play golf, it's important for you to properly take the swing at the golf ball, right? Depends on your swing, you can land the ball properly, similar to cricket. So there's a tool that you can take a video of you doing the swing, and the AI will actually analyze your swing and give you data saying, this is what you need to develop. Like you're holding the club wrong. You have to change your angle. You have to bend down your knees a little bit, right? You need to, change the speed at which you swing. So this is one of the products that I'm building with AI. The multiple products we're building right now. Over the last few years, AI has completely added a lot of opportunities. Data science, of course, analyzing data, because look, with machine learning, how do you create a, what is AI, right? AI is a computing model that can execute on its own without human interaction, right? It is able to take decisions based on what? Based on data, right? So that is the machine learning. So AI is a subset of machine learning. Again, I'm not here to teach you about ML and AI. So machine learning is basically building a model for that AI engine to use. Like, it's like machine learning is the brain, and AI is also part of the brain, but AI actions it. Machine learning is where everything is stored, right? Machine is able to learn on its own. How do they learn? Using data you feed in. Now, for that tool, the swing data, we would upload thousands and millions of videos to train that model, right? So along with AI, data science has grown equally. Now you have the whole science of collecting data, analyzing data, and that's one side of data science getting to ML. And also all of these tools we built, we need to build reporting dashboards to see their success, to see how it's interacting, how the users interact with it. So you can get that data to further develop your product. So data science is an area that is growing massively, and with data science, we can see graduates from statistics, mathematics, right, coming into the IT industry, right? Earlier, it was mostly engineering, students that came in as software engineers or QAs. Now we have, in fact, like, one of the companies I'm consulting, we hire a lot of data scientists, a lot of AI engineers, ML engineers for our projects. Cloud computing is not a new concept, but it's developing now. I wouldn't say it's developing now, it's developed very well. So with cloud computing, we have DevOps, which has come up pretty much, the platforms like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, where you don't host locally anymore. Most of these products now host on the cloud, and cloud infrastructure is very, very developed. Earlier, before cloud, getting a product to scale was a nightmare. Let's say you develop a product in Sri Lanka and you host it in the SLT servers. Now you want to go into start selling in the UK, you would have massive latency because users will use your product, which is hosted in a server in Sri Lanka. Now you don't have to do that. You have cloud services. You can have instances of your software for the US customers. You host it in cloud servers in the US. For the Indian customers, the Australian customers, you can host in their own region. So it's not a new concept. Cloud computing has been there for a long time. And with cloud computing, we do have the DevOps field, which is coming up, not coming up again, very developed right now. Blockchain is a new area, now really getting into space with NFTs, and various other different technologies coming in with blockchain. And of course, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, again, is not something which is very new, but we can see it has penetrated the Sri Lankan market the Sri Lankan IT industry, and companies are very much willing to invest in cybersecurity now. So again, right, if you this is all in the context of Sri Lankan IT industry, guys. You know, although these technologies and practices, trends existed in industries in other countries, it took some time for it to reach Sri Lanka era. But right now, we can see that this is creating so many different departments. You say these departments which existed, this is departments that exist now. So many different departments. Software development, of course, is still one of the largest departments. DevOps, performance testing, project management has evolved to product management, right? You don't just manage the execution of the project, but now you take, it as an overall product. QA field has, the quality assurance has gone into multiple different tracks, from performance testing to test automation. So a lot of different areas have opened up in the IT industry. So I just want to talk a little bit about the impact of AI, because this is an area where some people, are concerned about. Look, at the end of the day, how I think and how I have with my experience, I don't really believe that AI is going to replace anything to do with humans, which is repetitive, which is not repetitive. Let me explain. Oh, getting a call. Sorry about that. You saw the examples that I shared at the start of the presentation about the production line or the kiosk, right? Both of those jobs are repetitive jobs, can be easily automated, which is why not AI, technology took over. AI is a little bit different. AI can think on its own. In fact, AI is now creating, which is something something we always said. AI would never be as creative as a human being. You can see that the recently introduced autofill tool of Photoshop, you may have seen that on Facebook. It's able to generate a image, but if you really think about it, it's all based on data that humans have fed. Yes, the machine learning model learn on its own, but again, I still believe that the human creativity is going to be very tough to be replaced by AI. Rather than AI affecting jobs, I think AI would be a way of enabling jobs. Let me give you an example. One of the tech leads that in one of my teams, this guy had a massive technological problem. He was going through a code base and he could not figure out a bug for a few days. And we brought in a few other tech leads. We looked at the code base. No, we can't figure that out. Just put the copy. I just took the code base, copied it, put it on Chat GPT, and we I just asked what's wrong with this code base, gave the answer, put it into the system, done, no issues. In fact, this is now being used quite a bit by a lot of engineers that I know. So it's going to enable, it's going to make our jobs a little bit easier. It's like how Wikipedia, sorry, not Wikipedia, like the internet came, Stack Overflow came and made programming easier, because now if you have a problem, you go on Stack Overflow, high chance of you having an answer. Early on when Stack Overflow didn't exist, that was not easy. At the end of the day, yes, it's not as simple as I say. Yes, there may be impacts, but we'd always think about developing a problem solving and creative ability. Talk a little bit about the internship program. Now, finding an internship program is really, really important if you are getting into the industry, rather than just head diving in. If you are able to score internship at a good, reputable company or any internship, it's definitely going to be add value to you, because before you start your job, you get to test the waters. And I believe that the internship, through an internship program, you can really, really learn much more than you learn in an academic. You need your academics. A lot of people say you don't really need a foundation. You don't have to have a degree or education to be a software engineer. But I don't agree with that. I disagree with that, because you need to have your fundamentals. I worked with engineers who don't have formal education, but and of course we have a academic here, Ujita, who will definitely add on this. But and I don't have much time, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I just want to share my experience in saying that the role of academics is absolutely important for you to succeed as an engineer, because you need to know the fundamentals. You have to understand the fundamental frameworks for you to be a good engineer. And you have to, if you're striving towards being an architect one day, that fundamental knowledge is absolutely vital. So I'm sorry I took a little bit more time, and it was a lot of content, but I hope you got something out of this session. If you do have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me. You can connect with me on Facebook. I will be dropping my LinkedIn profile on the chat. So if you want to connect with me, do go ahead. And I will also share the Unicorn Factory link YouTube channel. If you are interested in learning how to be an entrepreneur, highly recommend you to follow that. Thank you so much for having me here today. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you so much, Jehan. That was very insightful. And I love the fact that you have not just talked about the technical factors, but also give them a little bit of enlightenment in terms of starting their own startup and how to become an entrepreneur, because I think that's the trend. That's where the industry is moving. That's where we are evolving. And I also love the fact that you have taken a look at all the aspects of the current and ongoing and emerging trends in IT. So thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. And I'm pretty sure they will have a lot of questions to ask at the end of the presentation. And I would like to move on to our next guest speaker, who's none other than Ujita Sudhasinghe from AIBS School of Computing. So, Ujita Sudhasinghe, he's an accomplished professional with a strong educational background and extensive experience in the IT industry. With a bachelor's degree and a master's in computer sciences, Ujita is committed to continuous learning and growth. And having spent over 12 years in the IT industry, Ujita possesses a wealth of knowledge and practical expertise. He has worked as a technical consultant, providing valuable insights and solutions to organizations seeking to optimize their technological infrastructure. Additionally, Ujita has dedicated 4 years of teaching as an IT lecturer in private universities, sharing his expertise with aspiring IT professionals. Passionate about cutting edge technologies, Ujita has developed a particular interest in AI based deep learning. Ujita's enthusiasm and curiosity has driven him to explore and implement the latest advancements in this field, staying ahead of the evolving IT landscape. With his strong educational foundation, extensive industry experience, and dedication to the integration of AI and deep learning, Ujit is poised to make a significant impact in any organization he joins. His passion for technology, combined with his expertise as a technical consultant, makes him an invaluable asset to AIBS School of Computing. So I'd like to invite Ujit, very own lecturer from AIBS School of Computing, to take over the session. Ujit.
Okay, good evening and thank you so much for the introduction. So I think I'm audible, right? Okay. So let me share my screen. Shahan, I'm audible, right?
Yes, Ujit.
Okay, right. So let me share my screen first. So okay. Could someone verify that my screen is visible to you, Shahan?
Yes, Ujit, it's visible.
Okay. So before starting the sessions, actually, Jihan come up with a very good point when it come to the any of the learning infrastructure. I mean, the learning facts, right? That's the fundamentals, right? So fundamentals are very good to understand when it come to any platform or any scenario, because if you don't know the factors, and if you only know how to get the thing done from a some kind of a machine learning thing, or some kind of a artificial intelligence things, or some kind of deep learning thing, or some kind of IoT based development, that only you will be only the users of it. But what you have to do is, first you have to understand what is happening inside it. It's true, sometimes we don't think much about what is the internal state of it, but to have the real experience with a good understanding, you have to know the fundamentals. So I'm totally agree with the Jehan's, the fact he mentioned that fundamentals shows the path to your way, right? So here is we are going to have some idea how as an institute AIBS is going to show you a pathway to information technology, right? So I'm Mujit Singh, and Shan gave some introduction related to that one. So I'm not going to describe it again, but I will let you to the point why you should select AIBS to get the things done in your academic exposure, right? So, when it comes to Sri Lanka, there are a lot of institutes, right? Universities, campus, and a lot of institutes, right? But to the point, if I say why you should select AIBS, there are mainly three, right? Mainly three, but there are a lot of factors, but out of that, there are mainly three. First thing is regularly updated course content. What's it? When it comes to uh, uh, some kind of a thing like IT, right? It's rapidly growing, right? Now we are doing a session here. Now, when you got out of the session, there are thousands of new technologies coming to the world, right? So we cannot predict how this exponential growth or the curve is like exponential growth, right? So in the next day when you awake, you will have thousands of newer technologies, right? So based on that technologies, we have to update our course contents. Otherwise, what will happen? To the giant Indian industry, right? So there shouldn't be any gap between you as a fresh graduate and the industry, right? You may have less experience, but in the knowledge, you have to have some kind of a maturity there. So that's the first thing we are doing here. We're regularly updating the course content, that all the courses designed in your degree programs are very much similar maturity to your industrial experience, right? So that's the first thing. And the next one, that Jihan gave a massive explanation about the job market and what are the trends here, AI, IoT, and he mentioned a lot of things, right? So all the things that he has mentioned, that what we are doing, we are going to match all these incoming trends of IT to our education program. So in future, in the future of these slides, I'm going to describe how we can achieve that one. That's the second point. And the third one, inheriting to the giants of IT industry. Yes, it's true that the academic is really good, right? But when it comes to industry like information technology, right, you should have some amalgamation or some kind of a merge between the IT industry plus the academia, right? So at that stage, we have a lot of lecturers and a lot of people who are coming from the IT industry. So as well as the professionally lecturers. So you can merge, you can inherit those experiences what they have in their career path to these academic aspects, right? So these are the main three things why you select AIBS other than any campus or a university or an institute. I think you hope we are very clear why we should select AIBS for your degree program. Okay, then these are not just wordings. I'm going to prove in my all the slides how we can achieve these three in the AIBS, right? So I put a simple sample module structure we are following in our BSc computing degree programs, right? So if you see now I'm not going to compare with another universities or other institutes, but generally, if you look at these course contents, especially like programming, right? Now see the deviations of this module structure. They have started from programming and networking. Again, professional practices.
Ujita,
Hello?
sorry to
Yeah.
disturb you, Ujita. Would you be able to zoom it a little bit? I think then the participant would be able to see it much more clear.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Better.
Okay. Right. So here you can see the varieties, right? Programming, networking, databases. Okay. So these are directly linked with what are the information technology trends, right? So all of these modules has been decided based on that one. For example, if we take this one, information security, right? So security is a trending. I mean, some kind of a rapidly growing area in IT industry. So we have planned that each and every module based on a certain aspect, right? Intention, right? As well as there are some computing research projects as well, right? So those students, some students are really like to have some research on some areas, right? So this facility also there. And if you're good in some kind of a user interfaces design and prototyping and UI UX engineering, yes, you have that kind of modules as well. And there are some students who are not like to programming. It's not really good, right? So there are some point of views. Yes, I'm going to be a network engineer or system engineer, right? So we have covered that modules as well, right? So some courses we have come across the lecturers from the industry as well, because that will give more good experience for you to understand how the industry is behaving. Then it's very simple, right? Now let's see. You are going to do something, whatever you are doing day-to-day life. So you don't need to prepare much, right? So at AIBS, our idea is to make you more comfortable when you are dealing with IT industry after completing this degree program. Okay, so that's the basic idea here. So I will move to the next slide. So this is the pathway for the students who needs to be software engineers. Yes, as I mentioned in the before as well, in our course content, we have created some modules for the especially targeting for the software engineers. Now, if you go to the before slide, you can see programming module, right? If you go to the programming module, you can easily see for a software engineer to become a software engineer, you need to have a solid knowledge on programming, right? And at that programming module, we have one major thing. We are not going to use all programming languages. Actually, we have decided to come up with Python, right? Because when it comes to a Python has a lot of application written based in Python. If you take a AIML, artificial intelligence or machine learning or neural network, entirely you can very easily adopt it Python. If you like to be some coding in IoT, yes, it's true. All of the codes are written in Python, right? So while we are planning our modules, not only the module, but the content inside or the programming languages, we are planning based on this aspect. So if you want to be a software engineer, you have a lot of modules covered by here. Programming, as well as there's one module called software development lifecycle. So all the things cover under our module. And the next thing, artificial intelligence. Yeah, these are really good, right? Because this is a emerging topic, and most of the people think to be artificial intelligence engineers, right? So there are main few things, right? Artificial intelligence is the wall thing, and inside that's a machine learning, and it's another subset is deep learning. There are a lot of things, but whatever it is, the foundation for learning this artificial intelligence or anything related to that one, or neural network or deep learning or anything, we are going to make the fundamentals of these things. Then you can very easily adopt with artificial intelligence engineering, right? So that's one aspect. Other than that, some of the guys good in electronics, sometimes some guys are like to work with circuits and some IoT based systems, right? So this also have some coverage in our modules, right? Especially when it come to programming concept using Raspberry Pi. There are some boards, right? Arduino boards, and then you can actively join with those things. I mean, practically you can do the things and get the understanding of how these networks are working. So, okay, we have a module called networking, and there we are going to learn how these devices are connected and communication with each other, right? There are protocols like MQTT, HTTP. You will learn all of those things in those modules. So the module, if you go to the module page, you can see there's a course in first semester called networking, and there you are going to understand how these devices are networked with each other. So if you want to be an IoT based engineer, this is the time for you, right? Okay. So the next thing is network security, DevOps, and everything, right? So I put all the things in one slide because they have very similar, right? But network engineers, that's now getting little. It's true, it's needed, but that based on the job variety here, now it's going down. But emerging are DevSecOps and DevOps and all the things like that, right? So there, what you can think is, if you want to be a network engineer, DevSecOps engineer, there are modules in our course content, especially for DevSecOps. DevOps plus security. Okay, it's come as a DevSecOps. Okay, so no, not only a security engineer, but you're a developer, DevSecOps. Then you merge those two and come up with the DevSecOps engineer, right? In our modules, we are we are highlighted. If you want to be your path on DevSecOps engineer, there are modules like security modules, network modules, especially target on this aspect. And there are some students, they are really good in what? User interfaces design. It's a huge market it has, because it does not, it not only have your intelligence, but you have to have some creativity there, right? User interfaces plus user experience, right? So there are students who are coming to AIBS that they need to be a UIX engineer, and they have that capacity as well. When you are doing the lectures, we saw clearly that people are coming from some previous backgrounds who are good in creativity. They can go to a certain good level in UIX engineering, right? So there are some modules like prototyping and some kind of user interface designing modules in our module structure to make your life into certain good standards, right, in the industry. Okay, then the last thing is, wow, here is you have not got exams, right? That's the first thing. If you have exams, those are open book, right? You will be wonder why. You will ask from AIBS, if you are following these kind of standards, why you are not having the exams, right? Yeah, there's a reason for that one, right? Next slide will describe you why we haven't got exams there, right? So what we really believe is, if you remember all the facts entire semester, and you open up just answer sheet and rewrite everything, but end of the day, after the examination, you will not remember anything. Sometimes 20% to 30%, if you do it with your passion, or if you really like, you will remember those things. Other than that, I'm 100%, we all 100% sure it is a headache to you, right? Understand? So, but we thought, rather than doing that, if you can think something and do something that is much more better than remembering the facts. So that is why we have an exam. And if you have exams, these are all open book. That means you have to think and answer. That's the only thing, right? And the next thing is, we want to make this campus where your life make it more easy, right? We won't make you trouble here, right? Because you're kids. We know you are your children, right? You are students, right? We know compared to me, compared to us, you are kids, right? So we don't want to make your life trouble anytime. Each and every lecturer, non-academic or the academic, everyone know how your age, how we are working with, but we maintain the standards. We need the knowledge, we improve the knowledge, but we want to make your life easy and good, right? So that's, we haven't got exams. If it is exam, these are open book, right? So I have make slides using this on splash.com, so I give priority to them. Then thank you for listening and joining actively in my in this webinar. So if you have any question related to this academia, so you can ask at the end of this session. So Shan, that's the end of thing. Okay, thank you so much. Okay.
Thanks, Uchita, for that informative look at the course content and also the higher education opportunity pathways that provided at the AIBS School of Computing. And we also have Ravindra Mathanayake, one of our senior lecturers at AIBS School of Computing. And I hope both Jehan's and Ujita's sessions have given you a new perspective for all the students who would like to pursue their higher education and careers in IT. And also we have a couple of professionals in IT industry, and this would have given them a new perspective to look at their existing careers as well. So now is the time to ask. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand and then we can unmute you and you can ask the questions verbally, or you can type any questions that you have in the chat box. Myself and my two senior lecturers, we are happy to answer any questions that you have with regards to the careers and also with regard to the programs at AIBS School of Computing. Right, we have a question from Amal. What is the difference between software engineering and AI? Ujit or Ravindra, if one of you could take up that question.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Ujita, shall I answer it?
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Ravindra.
of course.
I think now AI, when you talk about AI is artificial intelligence. That is, the computer does most of the thinking. So that is the newest trend in one of the newest trends in computing. While software engineering has been going on for almost since computers were brought into the world, there has been software engineering. You engineer since the there's a thing called the von Neumann architecture, where you separate the data, from the program. And since that happened, software engineering has been going on. But artificial intelligence is a new thing. It involves neural networks, and it involves the development in that higher scale, where the computer does most of the thinking and it does most of the creation. So does that answer your question, or maybe Ujita can add something?
Yeah, definitely. So what's the student name, Shan?
He's Amal.
Okay, Amal, it's like that, right? Now, when you come to this scenario, now what software engineer is usually doing is he code the things and get the output, right? That's software engineer. But the vice versa is happening in the AI. We get the output, then come backward and show the prediction. That's the main difference between software engineer and a AI engineer, right? AI part. That's the main difference. Simply, we take the input and process something, and we code something, and we give the output. That's software engineer's duty. But when it comes to the AI ML engineer, what he's doing, he take the output and feed and get the prediction. That's the main difference. If I add something to your question, Amal, hope you are clear.
Amal, I hope you have got the answer that you have expecting for. Thank you, Amal. Okay. Thank you, Uchita, and thank you, Ravindra. And we have another question from Philip. He's asking, is there any practice on cloud will provided by AIBS campus, and also are there any core programs related to cloud computing? Uchita and Ravindra, if one of you could take up.
Yes, why not it is, right? So when it comes to the cloud computing, even in the networking, right? There are a lot of leading cloud providers, right? You know, Oracle, AWS, Microsoft Azure, these are the leading cloud providers, right? So that's the brand names. I'm sorry for mentioning that, but anyway, I have to mention those things when you are doing the lectures, especially when you are doing the networking. Yes, we have to think about how this cloud infrastructure is using the networking, right? So we have to touch those areas, and especially in security. Yes, how these security mechanisms are inbuilt in AWS, Azure. We have to touch those areas, right? So who is the student asked that, Sharon?
He's Philip.
Okay, Philip, I think you have got the idea, right? So we could have some idea based on the industry leaders in cloud computing, right? Cloud infrastructure. Okay, thanks, man. I think
we have another question from Rasin. He's asking if I'm in need to become a front-end developer, what will be the best path and the language to focus and learn? I think he's reflecting on the particular program language that he needs to go ahead with if he wants to become a front-end developer. Ravindra?
Yeah, generally now, can you hear me?
Yes, Ravindra. Good
Yes, Rashid, your name is Rashid, is it?
Rasin.
Rashid, okay. Rashid, now one thing you have to know is you have to know HTML5. That is the HTML5, it's not exactly a programming language, it's a markup language. That's markup languages are used for displaying and formatting information over the web. Plus, you will also need things like JavaScript. They are scripting languages. They are small-scale programming languages, but they are, you can also use larger programming languages, but the small-scale scripting languages are very handy because they can help you manipulate objects, transfer data, things like that. And they work together with HTML. HTML stands for the Hypertext Markup Language, and the current is the version 5. And that is the one that operates very well with maybe even your hand phones, mobile phone devices, and all those things. Yes, Ujita, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, Ravindra, exactly. So the thing is like that, as he mentioned clearly. So if you want to be a front-end developer, first thing you have to understand the fundamentals. As our senior lecturer mentioned, yes, it's true. You have to understand the basic. That's HTML5, right? So other than that, JavaScript is number one, right? If you want to be a front-end developer, JavaScript should be there, right? Other than there are a lot of frameworks like React, or sometime lot of frameworks are there, right? So you can easily adapt to any framework after that. But as clearly our senior lecturer mentioned, yes, it's true that you have to understand the basics, HTML5 and JavaScript. So start your path at there, then definitely you will end up with a good result. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Rasin, I hope that answers your question. And we have another question from Arkham. I hope I have spelled your name, pronounced your name correctly. He's asking what are the subjects should I follow for my Cambridge A levels, if I want to be a software engineer, can I follow computer sciences, pure mathematics, and mechanics? So let me take up that question. Akam, now one specialty in AIBS School of Computing is that now, like I mentioned in the initial introduction, we have pathways in science, IT, and business. In business and IT, School of Business and School of Computing, we open it up to all the advanced level streams, because it doesn't matter whether you are coming from a IT background. It will be great if you are coming from an IT background, but even if you are coming from a non-IT background, which means if you have not studied core IT subjects for advanced level, even though we are still starting from the fundamentals, because what we want is to open up School of Computing and its pathways to sorry, yes, Ravindra? Uh, okay, so because we want to open up these pathways to as much as students possible. So yes, you can take computer sciences, pure mathematics, and mechanics, and even if you can switch pure mathematics with physics, that also recommended. And still, even if you were to follow a different combination of subjects, still you can enroll in the School of Computing. So I hope that has answered your question, Akam. And also, I would like to mention that if there are any students, now Akam has asked what he needs to follow for his A levels in order to get into the School of Computing. But I know that there are a lot of students nowadays, because of the time taking, the inconsistency, they would like to skip A levels and go for a foundation pathway program. If there are any students such who wants to go for a foundation program and fast track their higher education, we have the International Foundation Diploma, which anyone can enroll with O levels, which is awarded by National Computing Council in UK. It's NCC level 3 qualification, which will give you an inside-out knowledge in both theoretical and practical aspects of information technology, like foundation in programming, foundation in computer sciences, which can be also completed within 10 months and will give you right away a direct pathway to get into your undergraduate studies in computer sciences, software engineering, cybersecurity, and you name it. So I hope that answers your question, Akam. If you have any further clarification, feel free to type it in the chat box. We have another question from Ahmed. He's asking which is the most valuable company in IT. Like I think he's trying to refer into the industrial aspect of it, maybe which is the most pathway that can be a better earning pathway. I think that's what he means. Ravindra, Ujita, if one of you would like to answer.
Yes, when you talk about that, I think you have to have an understanding of, say, your question was, what is the most valuable company? Is it?
Yes. I think he tries to refer into the what is the most valuable stream, because we have talked about machine learning, AI, software development, cybersecurity. I think that's what he tries to mean.
So valuable stream as such. Now there are those streams that were mentioned by Jehan when he did his presentation, like this cloud computing, AI, cybersecurity, those kinds of things. And if you talk about companies, of course, companies, it may mean that you are looking for a larger, more stable company, or you may be looking for a faster growing company. But those things change with time. Even the technologies, they change with time. So now actually the little bit of dangerous thing here is that you start your study program, and when you end it, the things may be different. So, but always you can keep an eye on the industry. You can, while you're studying, you can keep an eye on the industry, because without studying, you can't do anything. You have to have that basic knowledge also. So that's why answer, I think Ujita, who has more experience in the industry, can enlighten you more probably. Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's like that, right? So who is the student? Could I repeat the name, Shan? The student name? Could I?
It's Ahmed again.
Okay, Ahama, it's like that, right? It's all about after you study well, it's up to you. Now let's assume you are going for a certain kind of a company. All the things are structured, right? I'm going to not mention all the names, but let's assume you are going to well structured, very highly structured company. Then at that software company, what you have to do, only the part that they are assigning to you can do, right? Let's assume, Muhammad, you are joining for a company which is a startup. Startup means simply just started company, right? Then you have to do all the things. Then as an internship or as a newcomer to this industry, you can do a lot of things, which will eventually make your life in a certain day into good position, because you know entire life cycle, what is happening, right? That is what happening. If you answer that, what should I select as a company, that's the answer for you. Other than that, if you are seeing a stream, what is the stream that I select? Yes, as Ravindra mentioned, AI, ML, machine learning, that's a one field, and as well as IoT, Internet of Things field, as well as other than that, there are some fields like let's assume web development also there, mobile application development also there. Other than that, data science also good area. So and as a DevSecOps, if you are going for the security and networking, you can come up with the DevSecOps. That's how it is happening, right? Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Ravindra and Ujita. Now we have another question, which I think it's a very interesting question, which I myself have faced a lot of times when I was counseling students. This question is from Nathaniel Fernandez. He's asking, is it better to do a computer sciences degree and going into the cybersecurity as a major, or going straight into the cybersecurity as a degree? If Ravindra, Ujita, if you, one of you could take up the question.
Yeah, I will take that one, right? It's like that. Now, what she is asking is first have the knowledge base and go for the industry, and next one is going for the industry without a knowledge base, right?
So he's asking, Ujita now, he's asking whether it is better to start with a computer sciences degree and then major in cybersecurity later on, or straight away go into a pure cybersecurity degree.
Yeah,
that's the question.
It's like that. It's very hard when it comes to entirely understand the cybersecurity. Then what will happen is, let's assume there is a real ice cream, right? Right? Then what you are going to do is you can eat the ice cream, right? That's true. But if you don't know how the infrastructure of the table, you can start eating any time, right? So that's not really good, right? So our recommendation is first start from the basics, which come up with all the things, right? Then you understand the concept, what's happening. Now let's assume in the cybersecurity concept, before starting that one, you have to understand how these all the other components are working, right? How the network is working, how these malicious code are attacking. Then you have to understand how these programmings are written, right? Then before going to the cybersecurity specialization, it's true you have to follow first the basic idea of programming, right? Then at the second year or third year or later, as a fourth year, you can master that field. That's the recommendation from AIBS side. Okay. Okay.
Right. Thank you, Chita. I think, Nathaniel, I hope you have got the answer. Even I myself face this question a lot when I'm doing consultation, not just myself, my counselors as well. Because I think one of the earlier question was the pathways that we provide at AIBS campus. Because if you were to do our HND in computer sciences, the Higher National Diploma offered at AIBS School of Computing in computer sciences, we have a direct partnership with Edge Hill University in UK, which is a prestigious university for computer sciences in UK, one of the top ranked universities in the Western England, top 4 to be exact. And if you want to major in computer sciences, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, game development, any area later on, when you start with computer sciences, you have the option to major in any of these areas. So I hope we have given the answer for you, Nathaniel. If there are any clarifications you would like to make going ahead, please feel free to type it in the chat box. And
can I add something to that?
Of course, Ravindra.
Yes,
Feel
now
free.
there is a danger in first going into cybersecurity or any other field like that at the moment, because you might get stuck inside there, and you don't know how the market changes, how the IT industry changes as a whole. So sometimes you yourself at a certain point in time may say, think that, oh, I am in this field, why not select something else? Then you will face some difficulty. So it's better to have the, as Ujita said, to have the fundamentals, build a degree where it generalized, and then you can specialize in one area later, so that at any time in life, whether you won't get stuck in a certain field. Am I right? Yeah, did I make myself clear?
Exactly,
Okay.
Ravindra. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think because now, if you guys have remember Ujita's presentation, he has even show you a glimpse of the course curriculum that we conduct at AIBS School of Computing for Computer Sciences. Now, this entire curriculum has based on getting the fundamentals right, opening up pathways for you to pursue any majors that you want. So when you have that strong fundamentals, the strong foundation, and also most of you might know exactly what cybersecurity is, what game development is, what AI is. And when you start with the basic degree in computer sciences and going through each of these modules, you will be able to identify which one would be most ideal and most matching with your interest. And then later on, you can select the pathway. So thank you, Chitra, and thank you, Ravindra. And there's another question from Sriram. He's asking, I would like to know about the degree programs offered by IBS in computing to join with A levels, and also the opening body for this certification within brackets affiliated university. Yeah, so Sri, now there are two main programs that we are offering at the AIBS School of Computing. One is the BTech Level 5 Higher National Diploma in Computing, and also BTech Level 5 High National Diploma in Software Engineering. Both of these qualifications are awarded by Pearson UK. Because if you look at the structure of the bachelor's degree programs offered at AIBS School of Computing, I would say there are two types of students currently enrolling with us. Few of them who would like to continue the entire degree in Sri Lanka itself, completing the first year, second year, third year altogether. And also we have students who would like to start with us, but also have plans to go abroad, maybe to UK, to Australia, to Canada, at the end of the program. For these people, they have an exit point. Once you start the degree with us, at the end of the second year, you can get that qualification separately as a higher national diploma, which is a Pearson accredited diploma. The reason that I am highlighting on the part accredited is that in the market we have accredited programs as well as assured programs. So when you select assured programs, your options are very limited. But when you select an accredited program, you have options both locally and internationally. So if you have any plans to go abroad, maybe to complete your final years in UK, Australia, when you complete a Pearson accredited high national diploma, you have that ability to transfer your credits. And if any one of you were to complete the final year, which means your BSc also in Sri Lanka, then we have a direct partnership with Edge Hill University in UK, which is a prestigious university in central Lancashire. And also, I understand that I have been harping on the international qualifications offered by IBS campus, but most of you and more than your parents would like to know whether these qualifications are locally accredited as well. The answer is yes. This Pearson BTech Level 5 qualification offered at the IBS campus is approved by TVEC, Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission in Sri Lanka, giving you the approval to not just get employed in the private sector, but also government and semi-government sectors. And also the final bachelor's degree that you will be completing with the IBS campus is a UGC recognized degree as well. So which gives you pathway opportunities, career pathway opportunities, both locally and internationally. So I hope I have answered your question, Sriram. We'll move on to the next one. We have another question from Mohammed, which is the language most used in the IT industry. I think he refers to programming languages. So if Bravi or Uchita could take up it.
Yeah. Yes, Ahmad, it's based on all based on your scenario, right? So you cannot say exactly this language is good, this language is bad, right? So it's all based on the application or the use case, right? If you take a use case and it is well matched to that one, we are using that programming language, right? But keep in mind, when it comes to a certain stage, I think it's better to follow these days Python, right? Because Python has a lot of integrations to all the developments currently going through in the industry, right? Especially for the IoT devices, especially for the AIML. Okay, so preferred language is Python, but keep in mind it's based on your use case, right? There are some programming languages they are very good, but for to make your life easy, there are some programming languages which should be selected based on the use case, right? Okay, hope you are clear, Aman, right? Okay, thank you.
Hello, thanks, Ujita. And we have another question from Arkham, who has previously asked about the subjects that he needs to pursue in advanced level. Yes, Akram, now you have mentioned that you have already started pursuing pure maths and mechanics, and whether that's fine, that's completely fine. Because strong mathematical, I think both Ravi and Ujita will agree with me, having a strong knowledge in mathematics would definitely help you in programming. And we have a question from Situm. How can we get an internship at a company? Now, let me answer that question. Now, Situm, even at the AIBS campus, School of Computing, so like I mentioned you, most of the companies in Sri Lanka, they would request you to come up with a recognized qualification from a recognized awarding body. Now, the reason that we have structured our bachelor's degree program in a way where you can get a paper qualification by the end of second year is for you guys to actually open up the pathways for internships, which means even with your higher national diploma and enough competency with the IT industry, because there's a lot of coursework, and like Ujita mentioned, entire syllabus at the AIBS School of Computing is based on assignments, not just exams. That is for you guys to, that is for us to teach you guys to how you can apply this knowledge in the industry. We are not just based on memorizing everything and write it down in an exam. So even after completing the HND, you can enroll with internship programs. There are companies that we are in discussions with, such as Inform, ITX 360, Shockmint, and we are also in discussions with Slascom to provide our students with valuable internships at the end of their HND. So once you complete the HND, before moving on to the final year right away, you can take a break and get some work experience and then move on to the final year. So there is a possibility like that. We have a question from Ramya. To continue the upcoming courses such as AI, can I start with the same computer sciences program? So she's asking, she wants to major in AI later on, but can she start with computer sciences? Ravi, Ujita, if one of you could take up that question.
Yes, I think Ujita, you may be able to answer that better.
Yes, Ramya. Yeah, it's actually you have to know the fundamentals before going for the AI, right? Actually, same as I mentioned before, right? You have to understand the fundamentals of computer science before moving for the AI. Let's give a good example. Now, let's assume we are going to create some kind of a artificial intelligence application based on the image recognition. You are going to give the prediction. Let's assume in your mobile apps, mobile phone, you know, if you have an image captioning facility, when you in a single time, if you mention Ramya or any name, at the next time when he's looking your picture, he's auto captioning your name as Ramya or any name, right? based on the knowledge he has gained, right? That's a artificial intelligence, sort of artificial intelligence. So what I'm going to tell you is, to have that idea, you have to understand how these code segments are working, right? To have that idea, you have to understand fundamental knowledge of computer science, like control structure, if else structure, how these codes are working, what is the purpose of doing that one, like that. There are fundamentals, right? So without knowing these fundamentals, it's very hard to jump directly into the AI, right? That will take you more trouble, right? One day you can understand, but it will take more time, right? That's the our recommendation. So what you have to do is first follow a general degree, then you will understand whether it's suitable for matching to you or not, right? Then only you can specialize a one area called AI. But there are some students who will try to directly jump into the AI, right? But it's like making a house without having the foundation, right? That what will happen? It'll if it is a wind or a storm, what will happen to the house, right? That kind of thing happen if you are directly jump into the AI without having these fundamentals computer science knowledge, right? Okay, hope we are clear, right? Okay, thanks, Ram. Okay.
Ravi, if you would like to add anything to Ujita's answer.
Yes, generally it's always better to have the fundamentals, the foundation, because you can specialize later. I mean, even the courses in the universities are structured that way. You specialize in the 4th year or 5th year in the local universities, and also in the higher universities now, HND degrees. If you take them, they are they have give you a general idea when you start the degree, and later you can specialize. So that's the general trend. Don't try to specialize at the start. You specialize at the start, it will be difficult for you to grasp concepts later, other concepts that are not in your field. And also, to have a sound basis to your field, it's better to have your foundation in the IT. Be a generalized, know about everything. And that's there in the IT field. Have a general knowledge.
Thank you, Jita. Thank you, Ravi. I think Rami has got the answer. She's saying it's clear and understandable. That's great. So we have a comment from one of our existing students, Kavish Gunasekara. He's saying, I'm already a student of AIBS pursuing HNDIT, and I would like to say that my knowledge is growing day by day, and he would like to thank Ujita for being one of your students. Has been a great experience for him. So thank you, Kavish, for sharing your experience with the AIBS. We have another question from Arkham. Yeah, he's asking main degrees and masters that are needed to be a software engineer. Is BSc honors in software engineering a degree? I think what he's tried to ask is whether to have a bachelor's in software engineering is mandatory to become a software engineer. Uchita?
Yes, there are some software engineers who has become software engineers without having degrees, right? So how they have followed that one? They have doing some certain kind of self-learning or some kind of a all the things are some kind of a without having a proper guidance, right? Then what you have to understand clear here, Uta, that Akram, so that the things which are in the internet are not totally correct or totally wrong, right? There may be some facts these are true because there is no person to validate this one. So okay, so if you are doing self-learning and become a software engineer, that's good, that's okay. But if you have some kind of a guided learning, we call this as a guided learning. That means when you have the guided learning, the person who is guiding you to a BSc or a certain degree program, he has went through the industry or the academia certain years. Then he knows what is happening, what are the things mostly software engineers or the students are going wrong. So the lecturer or the who is going to teach you or the for you will specialize those areas and inform you. Then it is easily when you are in the industry, you can remember, yes, so our lecture has mentioned like that. So we can easily apply these tools to there, right? So that is the value having proper knowledge under a campus or a university. Okay, AIBS always try to have that to balance this gap or to reduce this gap when a student come from a certain area to have the our degree program. We always try to match those the industry and our academic skills, right? So that's the idea. So the preferable thing is what you have to do is it's better if you have a good idea on your academic qualifications and then move to the industry. So I think you could have the idea. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vijay. Akam, I hope you got your answer. Yes, thank you. Understood. Right. Perfect. So I think that's it for questions. But if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. You can approach us through social media, as well as you can approach us through our program coordinator, Sumedha. And let me quickly share you the contact information of our program coordinator. Yes. So if you have any questions that any of you couldn't ask in this session, you can contact our program coordinator for HND in computing and HND in software engineering at School of Computing, Sumedha. There's the contact number as well as the email address. You can contact and get more information regarding our programs, the intake, the course fee, and everything after this webinar. And also, if any of you have missed the beginning or any parts of this webinar, we will be uploading the recording of this session later on our YouTube, so you can check on that as well. And yeah, I think we can sum it up. I would like to first, I would like to thank all the participants who have joined us this evening. It's 5 to 7 on a Saturday evening, a time that you guys will usually mostly use for relaxing. But thank you all for using this session to join for this valuable and insightful session with AIBS campus. I hope each and every one of you have taken something which will inspire you to get into the IT sector and also start your higher education in information technology, hoping to whether to complete your bachelor's in Sri Lanka, whether to go ahead with to continue your higher studies internationally, or any of you who would like to become an entrepreneur later on. We have served your purpose with valuable insights throughout the session. And also, let me thank both of our guest speakers today, Mr. Chehan Vijayasikhan, Head of Product at Search Global, and also Mr. Ujita Sudasinghan, our Senior Lecturer at AIBS School of Computing, and Ravindra Madhanayaka, Senior Lecturer and Program Coordinator, AIBS School of Computing. Thank you so much. And also to my team who has made every possible effort to make this event successful. So thank you so much, everyone. I wish you all the best in your educational and professional lives, and have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Shehan. Thank you, Shehan.
Thank you, Narendra. Thank you.